Hello YouTube, welcome to another one of my Duel Links videos, and today I have for you a Gaia Silent Swordsman deck. I've been testing this card for for the most of the day, and I came up with this weird build. This build works because Silent Swordsman is already a strong enough engine. So combine that with Junk Synchron and some Gaia Spice, I was able to get some pretty good wins. But it is just a meme build, just something quick to show you guys before tomorrow's stream. There won't be a stream today, but we'll be streaming tomorrow. So we're running Junk Synchron, and for the extra deck we have Underworld Fighting Balmung. It's just a 4-star that we can go into with Junk Synchron and Sphere Kribo. We're using what grows in the graveyard, so most of the time we're going to be going for Armades, as a level 5. And then you have your Junk Berserker and Junk Destroyer if you need to go into a further boss. But basically the play I want to go for is summon a charging Gaia the Fierce Knight, which is going to be at 1900 attack if you don't tribute if you don't tribute any monsters for it. Still really good. And if you put a Silent Swordsman on top of it by tributing, you get to search a Blackluster Soldier monster from your deck to your hand. What we're gonna get to the hand is a Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of Evening Twilight. This card is really good because on summon, if you banish lights, you get to target a monster in the field and banish it. If you banish darks, you banish one random card from your opponent's hand face down, which is not really it's not really as good as banishing lights. And it's pretty easy to meet the conditions in this deck because you have your Junk Synchron, which is dark, you have Sphere Kribos, and then you have your Gaias and Silent Swordsmans. Also going for a turn 1 Armades is pretty strong, and if they happen to get over your Armades, that puts another light in the graveyard, so you have your Junk Synchron and your Armades, and you can go into your BLS Envoy of Evening Twilight. I wish I would have been able to add more Blackluster Soldier cards, but for this particular build, because I'm running the Silent Swordsman engine, it was just really hard to get a good opening hand. If you're running BLS, Silent Swordsman level 7, 3 Silent Swordsman level 4, and then on top of that, like maybe a Sacred Soldier. So I cut the engine down to just the 1, and but we still have a pretty good chance of having either Junk Synchron or charging Gaia the Fierce Knight to start. And if we don't have that, we're gonna get our back row or Sphere Kribos to protect our life points and or monsters. So the deck's pretty straightforward. You don't want to run a lot of spells because of Silent Swordsman, so that's why I have Kribos and Canadias as protection. And I really like Spike Shield with Chain with Silent Swordsman because most of the time they have to switch its position in order to get over it, and obviously this is going to increase the defense by a lot, and then your opponent's not going to be able to get over it. So just a nice spicy tech. But like I said, this deck is pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. But I had fun with it, and it won quite a few games, so I was like, alright, I'll make a short video on it. I always say short, but I am trying to keep this one short. I just got home from work, my son's taking a nap, my wife's not home yet, so I was like, hey, it's a good time as any to record, and I did build this deck. So I'm gonna start things off with a Kaiba using Heavy Starter. And this is where I was still running Sacred Soldier, but as you can see, I would run into hands like this where it's really hard to play. I have to rely on my Canadia and Kribo and just hope to draw into something playable. So we're going up against a Ritual deck, which is kind of an auto win if you can get your Silent Swordsman level 7 on the field. So that was my whole goal here. I'm going to go ahead and use the Canadia. And the reason I used my Sphere Kribo, I could have taken the damage, but I used the Kribo because if I gotten a charging Gaia, I would have been able to tribute the Gaia, search for Envoy, and that would put a light and a dark in the graveyard in order for me to summon it. But we pick up Junk Synchron, which is just as good. I just got the Kribo because it didn't really matter what I summoned. I was gonna go into Silent Swordsman so that we can negate any rituals. Gonna go for Senju, add E to 10, destroys my Silent Swordsman, and now that Silent Swordsman level 7 is on the field, there's really not a whole lot they can do. On top of that, I pick up a Silent Sword Slash, so if there were to be any Kuribos or things like that, I can easily play around that. And that's pretty much it. Silent Swordsman level 7. My opponent just suicides, I help him out a little bit with my Silent Sword Slash. Easy win. No charging Gaia needed. I really want to try a charging Gaia transmodify build using Sacred Soldier, but I haven't had a chance to test it. My boy Kyle did send me a build on Discord, and I'm probably going to save that to try on stream tomorrow, which should be pretty fun. Here we got a Mind Scan Pegasus. And we're gonna go ahead and go see, like, look at hands like this. Even though I'm only running one Envoy of Evening Twilight and one Swordsman level 7, somehow they always show up in your hand. So when I had Sacred Soldier, it was just worse. I'm gonna get hit by a Treacherous, which is kind of unfortunate. But I'm not too worried. I'll go ahead and take this damage. Kuribo is gonna save me from, you know, taking lethal damage. And now that I know I'm going up against Buster Blader, I feel pretty safe. Same thing as, you know, a ritual deck. Once you get Silent Swordsman level 7 on the field, it's going to be really hard for them to do anything. Especially because I have Kuribo to protect myself from battle. DNA Surgery, second Kuribo. But I have a Canadian Kuribo, so my Swordsman level 7 is going to be safe. Third Sphere Kuribo. This man refused to lose. But at the end, he's going to have to hold this L. Pretty easy. Pretty favorable matchups. We got Jesse next. I don't know if my camera is moving or I'm just sitting in a different spot, but I always feel like I'm going to the side. Alright, so we're going second against Jesse. And this was sort of a mirror match. Not exactly, but they were running Silent Swordsman. And we already have a pretty good starting hand. We basically have Armades and 3 ways to protect the Armades. Weak opening for my opponent, just the Pegasus. We're gonna go into Armades. And actually set the Silent Sword Slash in case there's any sort of destruction with like Crystal Regeki. I wouldn't mind searching for one of my Silent Swordsmen. So here we're going to see the Transcendent Crystals into a Silent Swordsman. But I don't know what these players are doing. Like, I guess he was trying to get level 7 out, but it's Armades. You're in King of Games, you should know better. Basically a free win right there. And you know, like I said, this duels weren't obviously that great. I like to, you know, casually duel while I have time at work, but I'm usually repairing or doing other stuff, so I don't remember most of these duels. Otherwise, I would have tried to get some better gameplay for you guys. Alright, let's see what this Ishizu has. Prescience deck. And once again, we start with Envoy Evening Twilight. So my whole Gaia combo doesn't really work out that well when you keep getting your one card that you're trying to search at the beginning of the duel, but then you add more and the deck starts breaking, so you really have to find a nice medium. Here my Armades is gonna get destroyed along with my Silent Sword Slash, and that's, like I mentioned, that's why I like to set my Silent Sword Slash. Not only does it work as a, you know, does it act as a bluff, but if it gets destroyed, we're gonna get that search anyway, so feels good, man. And like I mentioned at the beginning, Junk Synchron puts a dark in the graveyard, and if they get rid of your Armades, you can just follow up with Envoy of Evening Twilight, which is what I do here. We're gonna banish the monster. He's got the floodgate, and that's fine. All I have to do is tribute that useless BLS for my Silent Swordsman, and I don't have a battle phase, otherwise that would have been game. And the reason why I don't have a battle phase is because I banish with Envoy's effect. Nice and easy. I was also trying out a Red Eyes Slash and Gaia, the Gaia fusion hybrid, but I kept getting OTK'd. The deck was proving too slow, and I was like, if I really need to be able to negate spells. So that's why I came back to Silent Swordsman. And this last duel was against an Espa robot using nothing but traps. I believe this was an Oriya deck, or at least that's what it seemed like. But we never got to see the Oriya. We're just kind of annoyed by all this monster traps. Look at that. Embodiment, Swamp Mirror, and Canada. I decided to just take the damage, save my Canada, and we pick up a Silent Swordsman, which is great. But once again, I would have loved to search for my Envoy of Evening, but he was already in my hand. But as you can see, that's kind of the play. They get rid of your junk synchron. You at least have a dark on the field, and then you're gonna put the second one you're gonna put the light one with charging Gaia. You get a big boy on the field and a spell negation. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Canada. He's got a Swamp Mirror, which is unfortunate, but at least I get a Canada of my own. And I knew Silent Swordsman level 7 was not gonna be that great here because obviously my opponent is running a lot of traps. But it doesn't seem like they were battle traps. They were mostly monsters. That's why I think it was like an Oriya deck. Though I never checked them. Just kind of bodied this man and moved along. So yeah, that's it for this video. Not the best showcase for Gaia. It looked more like an Armades Silent Swordsman deck, but it is what it is. This is definitely not the last you're gonna see of charging Gaia in my channel. Like I said, I'm gonna keep tuning up the Red Eyes hybrid and then try a Transmodify Sacred Soldier eventually. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Join my Discord if you haven't. The link will be down in the description, along with my PayPal link if you guys want to support my channel, support my content. Really appreciate that. And until next time.